Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Ram Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Oh, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. I'll complete. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Oh, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai 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 Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om The screen should be made small now. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri. This should be made simple, no?
Huh?
Not this like this. It
will
won't be like
for
this.
others it will be small. They should be
Shri-
small, huh?
it will be like this only. Shri Ram Jai Ram. That is enough. Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om we don't have to every time say that.
I'm doing it. Come.
Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hariom Swamiji, Pranam.
Pranam,
Hariom
pranam, pranam, pranam.
Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam, pranam, pranam.
Pranam. Hariom Swamiji.
Now, what were we discussing yesterday?
Dwelling on prayer, Swamiji, prayer. Heart without words.
Ah. One more email you have sent, during Nama chanting hours and while praying to God, we are trying to get connected with the inner consciousness. How to establish this connection during non-chanting, non-praying hours? That is the real struggle, no? That is the real struggle. That is why instead of bringing all these things into our mind, first let us start doing everything with a touch of love. Nothing is insignificant, nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant. We keep on hammering this to our... So right from the tiniest, when we enter the hall, when we keep the chapel, we need not ignore them. It has to be properly, we are recognizing them in our mind, the relevance, the utility, and finally the maker. We don't mean the relative maker, the first person who conceived chapel when there was no chapel. So like that, when we start handling everything with a touch of love, with a touch of perfection, with a touch of gratitude, with a touch of dedication. So suppose we have this in our mind, right from the moment we get up in the morning till we retire to bed, let us try. Suppose when we take the brush, we keep it in the same place. When we wash our clothes, when we put it for drying, we ensure that it is put on an even, not in a haphazard way. Similarly, when we take our bath, when we dress ourselves, when we have our food, when we go to the office, we may forget. At least one or two we have been able to maintain. Like that we will step up. And then every day we have the dialogue with him and then tell him, throughout the whole day's business, I remembered only once or twice. Rest of the time only I was there, you were not there. Why don't you please make me aware of your presence? This is how gradually we can step up. There is no other shortcut, there is no magic there. Only, so during this is the toughest period. During the non-chanting time, I must be able to later on convert the chanting or non-chanting time as an offering to him. It will take a lot of time because our mind is not used to it. Mind evaluates and reacts based upon the norms we have already set in our mind. There we have not brought the God dimension at all. And not only that, the me and mind will arrogate also. So how to start? We have to make a beginning. As Swami Ranganathanji says, 1% yogi, 5% yogi, like that, 10% yogi. Nobody will be able to implement the whole thing. Even during chanting time, are we in a position to keep up? That is the real test. When we chant Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, If there is a total dedication, knowingly chanting, recognizing it and chanting. Suppose we start practicing this way of chanting, it will be slowly extended to whatever we handle. Not in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. These are the words of Papa. Whenever we are absent-minded, we don't concentrate upon it, all these things will happen. So, the chanting time, first is the training of the mind. That is why Papa has given us so many clues. Okay, out of the 45 minutes or half an hour chanting, or 10 minutes chanting, let there be a quality chanting. Otherwise, it is likely to be, the chanting will be going on. So here suppose we start training the mind right from chanting. Slowly it will be extended to some of the things we handle, and later to some more things we handle. And we have seen in the lives of evolved souls that they have been able to keep it up throughout. And they teach us that there is nothing called spiritual and worldly. Everything is spiritual. Even when I go and work in the office, apparently there is an employer-employee relationship. Apparently there is a target-based activities. But suppose Papa himself has written this. He even went to the extent of making us aware that God is paying salary to us through our relative employer for the work He wants us to do. So the attitude, God first gave the concept of setting up an organization or a factory or an establishment in the mind of that person, and then He made proper arrangement to get so many people recruited, and you are one among them. And the idea was, by prompting him, there are a lot of economic activities, an individual, nobody can sit idle. So somebody should be made instrumental in opening up so many avenues. So when as a spiritual sadhaka, as a bhakta, suppose this dimension comes to me, technically I may be serving the company or a boss, but actually I am serving him. So how does it come out? It comes out in the form of perfection. Yoga karma sukaushalam. Efficiency in action. Dexterity in action. That is yoga. That means no matter where I stay, where I work, no matter where I am, whatever I think, I do, I talk, it should have the stamp of this. I fail, I forget. But out of 100, I can make an effort in one, This is the only way, there is no shortcut. So during chanting time, suppose if we do it perfectly, the impact will be there during our non-chanting time. And that is the impact that makes us aware. Suppose we do something unknowingly. Suppose we are traveling, one of our friends wishes we don't see him. He gets offended. And when he reports to somebody, we immediately rush up to him and said, sorry, I did not. Then immediately we think, God made me to. That means when I am going through, I should be sensitive. How am I to know? Only through a lesson, an experience. So through experience, He is teaching us. The world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. The world we live in is a school. So we don't have to go to a particular place and get training, no. There is a school already before us. Just like an spiritual education institution has got periods, we also have 3 periods, Family, profession and society. These are the 3 tiers through which we express ourselves. In every such classes, whatever we do, it should be in conformity with our original ideal, remembering Him. We fail, we forget, doesn't matter. If this is becoming clearer and clearer to us, then we will realize nothing is unimportant, nothing is irrelevant, nothing is insignificant. Nobody is irrelevant, nobody is unimportant, nobody is insignificant. There is no shortcut. And we get a clue by closely observing the Mahatmas, how meticulous. The other day we were sharing, Gandhiji's anecdote. When once he went there, Gandhiji was searching outside the room. So Mahadev Desai came and asked, what are you searching? Small pencil. So we have got 2 half a dozen pencils here. Not that. It has to be located. Then everybody searched and they got. It is very difficult even to hold the pencil. Then you know what Gandhiji said? This was presented by a girl, we forgot her name, with all love. So it is not merely a pencil. It is a symbol of love. How can we throw it? These are some of the ways by which we are reminding ourselves. Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. So during the non-chanting time, suppose if we develop this, we will be able to do during the chanting time also. And ultimately this God dimension, the source of all sources. Ultimately God dimension means what? We are connecting up with the real maker, the real great provider, whom we call as God. So because we have not trained our mind right from our childhood, it will take a lot of time for us to do it. For the first time when we started handling this, what is it called? Laptop. Even now we cannot do anything beyond certain level, but even whatever we are doing, we were able to pick up after a long time, observing, asking people who are doing it. Potentiality is there, capability is there, faculty, everything is there inside, but I should know the technique of opening up, technique of making use of it. It takes time. Similarly, because we are not used to it, we have been dealing it with only from our sense of individuality level. That is why all of us are finding it extremely difficult to put this into practice. Not that we don't want to. All of us want to do it. But the equipment has not been trained so far. So let us start from Ramanam Chanting. That is why Papa said to Swamiji, if you have got doubt, take it that you have not chanted Ramanam properly. Every doubt gets answered when we chant properly. The method of chanting, the love with which we are chanting, whose name we are chanting, the great provider's name, who is seated within, who is making me to chant, all those dimensions will come, He is the creator, protector, destroyer. One Nama chanting. Somebody says our presentation has been superb, no? Then immediately we should know, no, where from the presentation came. Unless he is there, unless he gives us, unless he prompts us, will he be able to deliver? So like that, connecting up with the great provider. So Nama chanting, let us start from Nama chanting, Unknowingly, we have developed a concept of Nama chanting because initially we were not told anything. We were just asked to join the chanting, join the writing of the name. So later on, we started looking at ourselves. Yes, I am doing so much of Ramanam, but still the serenity or the peace or the quietude, it does not come to me. Still I get a lot of disturbance, I get tensed up. So what do you think that I should do while chanting? When I go deep within, I may get the answer. Otherwise, I may go through the words of wisdom of Mahatmas, try to understand and try to put it into practice. So that is why Papa said this is the first one is Nama chanting. It is not Dhyan Seva Nama, Nam Seva Dhyan. Because when we are in a position to effectively chant Ramanam, we don't say in terms of more time, quality chanting. One chanting, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. That means we are training our mind to apply the same concentrated, focused attention on that particular one, with the feeling that he is prompting us to do. We may be doing all these things. People may be appreciating our efficiency and all those things. We may be feeling joyful also. No, that is not the purpose of Nama. Purpose of Nama is to attribute everything to him. He gave us a wonderful, the field cannot be created by me. He provided the field. He gave the inner prompting. He made us to go through it previously. He made us to memorize so many things. And in a sequential manner, chronological manner, how he gives one by one, we have to watch ourselves. And then we see, oh, he made it possible. Others may say so many things, you have done it wonderfully. But we know very well, but for him, I would not have been able to do it. So the idea is to connect up everything with him. Everything starts from Nama. So the question was, during Nama chanting hours and while praying to God, we are trying to get connected. Correct. How to establish this connection during non-chanting and non-praying hours? Chanting and praying is not different. Chanting, praying, a stage should come, non-chanting, praying, writing, reading. The other day we read, in the outpourings. Is there one activity that is left out? Papa is gently reminding us. We have forgotten. It covers everything, Let him eat, O Ram. Let Ramdas eat, drink, sleep, move, sit, stand, talk, think, look, hear, smell, touch. Do everything in thy name and for thy sake only. How to make it a reality? We devise some methods, So that method is called touch of love, touch of perfection, touch of dedication, touch of gratitude. Somehow to pass on the ownership. If you are vigilant, then we will be able to do it. Otherwise, the sense of individuality will come and assert, Half a dozen people says, you have done well, you have done well, you have done well. The fellow who was trying to go out comes back immediately. Yes, I could do it. I may not say that, but I feel I could do it. That means I get halted. We can quote any number of quotations. As he is my wont, Puja Swamiji says, I pass it on to him. So that means every time we have to be alert here. Let us not think that at one go we may be able to do it. We are all finding it difficult because somehow he did not make us to bring these dimensions while we were working. If at all we were working and doing everything perfectly, whenever the boss pats on our back or whenever colleagues appreciate, we were taking it at the individual level. It did not strike to us. But now, when we are all in the evenings of life, when we look back, we can see that, this is the way. He provided the field, he made us to go through varied experiences. At least now he has made us aware, it was all his making. That is okay. Why should we bother about why he did not do it in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s? Now 2022 he has made aware. That is enough. So let us keep on hammering this, Hammering. Not smooth hammering. No. Like this. That he is behind everything. He is behind everything. He is behind everything. It is for that purpose only I am chanting Ramanam. My Ramanam chanting should enable me to make me feel that everything has come from him, everything is in him, everything will go back to him. Then the question will be answered. One more email we received. Beautiful. Reflecting the Almighty as within, without, beyond, and simultaneously as one only, the intellect bursts, come to know, tries to accept that the sticking I, known by myself as myself, those different I people see in me, do not exist. Who is I then? Of course, by the grace of your word, the intellect knows vibrations. The intellect knows vibrations from within rejoice. Still I find myself say, I. So Papa in IQG says, the only way to get rid of that I is faith and devotion, also granted by grace, expressed in chanting Ramanam. But the sticking I is there at each corner, even while chanting. O Lord, do not let your child feel he is by himself. No. You and he are tied forever, and he knows. So while replying, we have not sent it. That this word was very touching. You and he are tied forever. No? If this is well understood, halfway we have travelled. So Papa here says, O Ramdas, you are in Ram and out of him. You are everywhere along with him. He is everywhere along with you. He cannot leave you, you cannot leave him. He is tied to you, you are tied to him. You are in his custody, he is in your custody. He cannot do without you, you cannot do without him. He lives in you, you live in him. Still, you are his slave and he is your protector. O Ram, thou art true, but thou art love. O Ram, rave on. The lover and loved in fast embrace become one. Two become one. One remains everlasting, infinite, eternal love. O Ram, rave on. Mind charged with the madness of Ram's love. So this, when we keep on bringing this, so that means we are so close to him, intertwined, interdependent. His presence is felt because of his creation, no? If his creation is not there, how will we know that he is there? That is why he says, I am. You cannot do without him. He lives in you, you live in him. He is tied to you, you are tied to him. The creator by himself cannot become the creator. Only when there is a creation, the role of a creator is there. If creation is not there. So bhakta is necessary to know the Bhagavan. Na? Only Bhagavan means who? Why should we unnecessarily talk? Only because there is a bhakta. The bhakta strives to feel the presence of the Bhagavan. So that is why he said he is tied to interdependent, intertwined, interrelated, very close. So the devotee who has written this, it's a beautiful one. So when we go through Papa's teachings, then we come to know this. And after knowing, we keep up the sense of individuality. Don't think it will not be there. It will be there. But with a different face. Previously it was arrogating that it is absolute. Now it is there, it's not arrogating. It says it is only a reflection. It is there because of the grace of the Bhagavan. I think one more is there. When I interact with your manifestation, I totally lose you, dear Papa. Another prayer, no? Beautiful. Dear Papa, I am trying. When I interact with your manifestation, I totally lose you. I don't feel you, I don't see you, I don't experience you anywhere. Only me and mine comes up. I am aware of this bondage, but I am helpless. Please help me. I am trying. Take over this me and mine. Help me to feel, see, experience your presence in all your manifestations. Self-originated prayer. No? Dear Papa, I am trying. When I interact with your manifestations, I totally lose you. I don't feel you, I don't see you, I don't experience you anywhere. Only me and mine comes up. I am aware of this bondage, but I am helpless. Please help me. I am trying. Take over this me and mine. Help me to feel, see and experience your presence in all your manifestations. So when he has prompted us to make such a prayer, we are assured, he is taking us in. We will not keep quiet by merely praying. Along with prayer, we will also do what is to be done. Intense inward journey, probing nature, manana, contemplation. So this in-depth study of IQG is slowly now making us aware of the devices which he kindles in us to get ourselves connected with him. Intellectually, we know he is within us, but we are finding it difficult to feel his presence, while probably in certain moments we feel. But the moment we interact with others, we find it difficult. So this prayer, and along with that prayer, intense efforts on our part to connect ourselves with him. We would say that even at that particular moment we are unable to keep up that relationship. In the shortest possible time we can do that initially. Somebody comes and asks, immediately we may not be able to experience that God has come in that form to ask, and God is prompting from within to answer. It's an advanced stage. But as soon as he comes and talks as an individual to an individual, whenever there is a pause moment, we can try to bring this, Oh, he gave me a chance. I forgot. When at the time of launching this Sannyas Saptah, when Padmanabhanji Maharaj, he said Martin, the story of Martin, That's an easy one to remember. Martin was trying to connect up God in a different way, whereas God chose to come to him in different ways. And then when he asked like this, prayed like this, I was waiting for you, you told me you would come, I was waiting for you, did I not come there? So that itself shows, it's a simple story, but a profound idea is there. So we try to do that, in whatever activities we are right from now. We don't have to tom-tom in our mind. We will try this, Initially, we will see only as an individual. But in the shortest possible time, we will try to connect up. If he is there in me, the same power must be there in him also. If he is there in the form of life force in me, he is there in the form of life force in him also. So he is now testing me or giving me an opportunity to extend myself to him through that form. All those things, at that particular moment we may not be able to build up. But immediately after the person goes away or something, after that particular transaction is over, if we get a pause moment, we try. So that it becomes a samskara in us, a tendency in us to get ourselves connected with him. These are some of the ways. So this is beautiful. Openly telling, when I interact with your manifestations, I totally lose you. I don't feel you, I don't see you, I don't experience you anywhere, only me and mine comes up. I am aware of this bondage. That stage we have reached now, by his grace. But I feel helpless, I am helpless. Please help me. I'm trying. Take over this me and mine. Help me to feel, see and experience your presence in all your manifestations. If any other one comes up, we will share it with you, because if God prompts one individual to write an email, it is for everybody.
Swamiji,
Oh,
I felt a similar helplessness today. The same thing has been.
huh?
I felt a very similar helplessness.
Similar
today.
helplessness she felt today.
That should be that is the first reason.
That is the
that
same thing is echoed by somebody.
Correct.
I'm surprised.
Correct. Not surprised. God willed. God willed.
Sometimes His presence is so strong, like the prayer, I don't want to miss, I can't miss.
When we keep on doing it, even now at the moment, we may have some concept in our mind as to how this can be made a reality. To be honest, we have to go beyond this concept, because superimposing a concept on a vastu, on an object, on an individual, on a situation, it becomes practically impossible, no? A person comes, we are trying to superimpose something on him, Though that is the only way by which it can be conveyed, but actually it is not. It just happens. No prefix, no suffix. So we must try. Initially, is it clear? When we try, we want to actualize this, we develop a concept of superimposing something on an individual, on a situation, on an object, to get ourselves connected with him. It is a superimposition, because it's a concept we have heard from Papa that we should associate everything with God. So then we want to try to superimpose. To be very, very frank, that is why we are not succeeding. So what should be done? Is there a method other than superimposing? You have to go deeper, which cannot be put in words. So initially we try to superimpose, and then a stage comes, the tendency to superimpose also goes. Intense manana is necessary to
Swamiji,
assimilate.
I am not able to understand the superimposition that you are saying.
God, I'm so now suppose you are talking. I'm trying now. God, who is seated within you, is prompting you to put up this. God within me, seated within me, is trying to answer, as prompted by him. No. So this, suppose I have this. When the moment you say, I am trying to apply this on you, superimposition. Then in some cases I find it's okay, but majority I am not in a position to keep up. Then I realize I must go past the superimposition. It happens. There ends the whole matter. So the mind should reach that stage to be to.
Swamiji, there is no time for superimposition. When the presence is very strongly felt, I don't have to remember him. He makes me remember him.
Then when that stage comes, there is no superimposition.
Only in that moment, he is so strong that it is not 2022, nothing. He is there now.
That's why we said it cannot be explained. It cannot be explained. But we initially, when we hear all these from, when Papa says, bring in the God dimension behind, behold divinity in every aspect of this world Leela. You know? When we read his quotation, it is he who is, verily it is he who is behind all things and beings. So behold divinity in, we will not be able to understand what he meant by behold divinity. What we have understood previously was, we have to immediately see the divinity on him, no? Superimposing. But whereas it is he who is making us to behold divinity, not that superimpose.
Yes.
So that will come only due to our practice. Initially, we will all try to superimpose, and we may feel.
Swamiji, at that moment, the individual, nothing exists. It's only Papa who is just, his voice, his presence is so strong that everything else, it doesn't matter who says that or who does that.
If we can keep it up on a regular basis, okay.
It's not on a regular basis. That's the biggest problem.
That means the process is yet to be fine-tuned. The interpretation of the mind of this experience has to be again fine-tuned. That is why when once I learned the cycling, once I learned get the balance in cycling, it will never leave me, no? If I have learned the balance.
Swamiji, what do we do? That particular moment it makes me think of him. The rest of the time.
அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லணுமே. இப்போ நீங்க சொல்ற மாதிரி சொல்லணும். என்னால் ஒன்றும் முடியாது. அது உள்ளேந்து வரணும். அதுவரை he will make us to whatever. அவர்கிட்ட சொல்லணும். இப்போ எழுதியிருக்காரு அதே மாதிரி we have to write. We have to pray. We have to pray. I am helpless. Think about it.
What does Papa say about discipline? Because we talk about intense effort, and that sort of in my mind relates to willpower and discipline. And if we look at it intellectually, then willpower and discipline are like a mental muscle that we build. I make the bed today, it creates an impression. I make the bed tomorrow again and I do it a little better. It creates a deeper impression. But at the same time, sometimes we are not able to keep up with that discipline. So, do we need grace to be able to develop that level of willpower, to be able to live in that consciousness throughout the day? Or can we develop it intellectually as well? Because competition athletes, for example, they think of a higher purpose when they have to run that fast. And endurance athletes, they practice on the basis of some higher purpose. So is that higher purpose grace, or is it just that we have to keep practicing? Because the worldly way of doing discipline always fails. It's like a failed diet, But how do we get that level of discipline that yogis have? What drives them?
Only by thinking that I am not doing the discipline by myself. Initially, I think I have to do this, Nema, Yama, Nema, all those things. So many things are do's and don'ts. But simply because somebody said you are following it, we will not reach anywhere. Though we start with that, then later on we find, even to keep it up, I need the higher power to bless me. Because suppose somebody insists that you should do this, you should do that. When that person is not there, when you are in a different situation, you will compromise, you will reconcile. So the discipline, when it is related to the outer world, we may not be able to hold on to it. But whereas suppose we start thinking, I am unable to hold on to this discipline, then when we pray, mysteriously he gives us that experience. I am about to slip. A downpulling force, a downpulling tendency immediately makes me, I am about to lose. Immediately I pray, please, then I am back. That gives me the experience. I get a prompting immediately to move from that place, not to look at that particular individual or an object or be away from that situation. No. Otherwise, I may lose my temper. I would have lost it. Because from individual to individual, I would have lost it. But God prompts me, go away. That's all. Or have a go to the wash basin and put some cold water on your face. The train of thought is shifted. Have a cold bath, shifted. Just run, no. Peace Pilgrim says, suppose the anger is building up, run, exhaust that energy. Have a brisk walk, something like that, So then you become aware, oh, you saved me. We have heard, we must have shared this, when these addicts, alcoholic addicts, when they are in the rehabilitation center, when they go, and after the period they get some hold on their habit, and they come out, Alcoholic Anonymous, is there. So they have an understanding. They exchange all their telephone numbers, everything. Whenever they get a tendency, some depression may come. So at home, suppose you don't have money, then the wife may say, all because, you started spending like this and we have become pauper now. So immediately, oh, what is the use? I get depressed. I will go for a drink, At that time, I must immediately telephone to one of these friends whose number I have. That friend has to leave everything. Immediately, he should rush up with the available transport to your place and take you there. I have witnessed this. And then only I came to know that it is all because of this AA. We were talking to a friend in a mall, in a what do you call that, Super Bazaar in Bangalore. And suddenly, Koramangala. Then suddenly, he got a telephone. He is very close to me. I am meeting him after a long time. He abruptly said, please be here, rushed up. And after 20-25 minutes, half an hour, I would have been waiting there. He came back. Then I said, what made you to go? Then he explained to me this. This is our understanding. Immediately we have to change the train of thought. Otherwise he will slip. I said, now who prompted? Not individual. Like that, a higher power. Higher power is guiding us. Because higher power, if he is not guiding us, he will not telephone to this man. No? And this man immediately responds, not from individual. He is not bothered about his problem, his preoccupation, his urgency, his business. Immediately leave everything and go. Identify himself totally with him. Expansion has taken place. God has come into the being. He rushes up, takes him to, then when he says, I am okay, you can go back. Then he also goes and tells his wife, never do that. No, I did not mean, somehow it came out. She apologized and then everything got settled. So like that, when we bring in this higher power, it was a great, eye-opener for us. Because this boy who rushed up, we know him right from his childhood. His parents, very close to us. But somehow he fell into this habit. And luckily, by God's grace, he got out of it. And this started. So he said, there is a punarjanma for me. The moment we saw him, he said, it's a rebirth for me. Then suddenly this call came, and then we saw practically how he is committed to this. So whenever, so the discipline, we were talking about discipline. So disciplines, we will be able to hold on a sustaining basis only when we invoke the higher power's intervention. By ourselves, initially we may, but we may not be able to hold on. Immediately that's why immediately you remember you stand before the image of an avatar or a Mahatma. Suddenly, you'll think about all this. He will protect me. He will guide me. I am unable to hold on. You can say, I am unable to hold on. Then suddenly you will get the relief. Suddenly you quit the scene. If you remain there, you will also become one with it. Abruptly you will get up and go. Later on you will tell him, I had to do it. Or you will have the capacity to absorb everything. When we were working, the way in which we behaved with our boss, how he accommodated all our nonsense, he gave a patient hearing. And finally, in a what do you call, with a loving gesture, loving words, how he made us to realize the folly. That discipline he had. Not to lose our temper just because when somebody loses the temper. If I lose my temper and if you react, you are again dealing with the me to me level. When you raise yourself higher, Muktananda, why did he lose the temper? After some time, we'll go and clarify. We'll keep quiet. No, you have risen above. You are not dealing with your individual level. This is a discipline. This discipline comes from whether you bring the word God or not. It comes from the higher power. Intuitively you feel, I should not join this. So only by bringing the higher power in some form, in whatever form, it need not necessarily be in one form, in whatever form. It can be in the form of values, It can be in the form of values. So values help us in the form of patience, in the form of perseverance, in the form of forgiving, in the form of quality care and concern for others, These are all God's form. We don't have to think that God in that particular form. That's why we said we have to move above the concepts. All these values are He. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, in 12th chapter, in last 8 slokas, He lists who is my dearest devotee. In that, what is the qualification? All these values are there. So those who are, Gatin, first, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, malice towards none, friendship towards all, compassionate towards all. God comes out in this form. So he put it in another way. When my devotee developed this, he is my dearest devotee. So values, through values. So we need not think that when we are told to connect yourself to God, it's the personal level. It can be the impersonal level also, no? Values are at the impersonal level. Where are we now? Oh. One more thing I wanted to share, but it's a long subject. We have shared this, but for the sake of those who are hearing it in Adi Shankara's Vivek Chudamani, there is a beautiful sloka there. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishila dutkarshanam sikritim nikshepa samkshepate nahibahi shabdaistu nirgachati tadvad brahma vidopadesha manada dhyanadibir labhyade maya karya tirohitam swamamalam tattum na duryavakti. Merely when we are told there is a treasure inside, merely calling the treasure from the surface, that will never come. First of all, somebody who knows it, a reliable person, a person with credibility, a person with integrity and character. When he says it is there, you dig, you will get. That is the first step. Because he has told, because we have faith in him, we just go there and say, I want treasure, will it come? No. Then I have to do that, the excavation. So he says, as a treasure hidden underground requires competent instruction, excavation, removal of stones and such other things lying above it, and finally grasping, but never comes out by being called out by name. So the apparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, is to be attained through the instruction of a knower, followed by reflection, meditation, and so forth, but not through perverted arguments. So we have to do this, You can call it as one of the tools. You can call it as discipline. One of the tools. This is also very important, because we think, by just he says, apart from doing this, the apparent truth, so the apparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, is to be attained through the instruction of a knower of Brahman, followed by reflection, meditation, and so forth. So devotees are in quest of God. To move forward, guidance is necessary from an illumined soul. In our case, beloved Papa is our guide. Afterwards, one has to study, strictly follow the instruction by plunging oneself into that process. So, we may be doing so many things under this. Today we dig here. No, it may not be there. Today or tomorrow I dig here. I will not reach anywhere, no. Concentrated, focused attention, faith in the words of the... Somebody else says, I don't think it is there. It must be somewhere here. We shift. At the end, we don't get it. But we must choose a person who is reliable, and then we try to do what he asks us to do. So this is also a very important thing in our sadhana. I think that is enough for today. Today also it has been very lively, very, very. We are thankful to the people who have sent this email, so that we were able to plumb little more deeper into everything. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Hari Om, Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam. Pranam. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om.
All are speaking about Maya, Maya. What is the meaning of Maya? I could not understand for me.
Ask about Maya itself is anything that separates me from the original reality. That